What's up, good people? Welcome to the Ice the Closer channel. I wanted to make this video to help out those of you who are looking to get an R7, particularly now that the R7's been in production, or this new version of the R7 has been in production for about 4 years. I've noticed some trends in the market that can help save you guys some money and also some time in the future when it comes to buying, but then also selling the bike in maybe a couple more years. So the first thing to know about the R7 is that when the R7 initially came out, dealerships made sure to add a whole bunch of upcharges to it so that anyone who bought the R7 in 2021 or 2022, and sometimes even in 2023, did not pay the sticker price of $9,199, which already was a little high in my opinion for a more or less entry-level 689cc bike. But dealers were charging people between $10,500 and $12,500 for a bike that was already overpriced at $9,199 MSRP. What happened was those R7s obviously were ridden, but most of them weren't ridden for a very long time. Most of them weren't ridden for a lot of miles, rather, because when you pay for a $12,000 bike, unless you are someone who can afford a $12,000 bike, you're really not going to want to crash a $12,000 bike. And then there's an insurance that comes with that to protect how much money you put into it. Let me hit this corner real quick. So a lot of these people in 2021, 22, 23 who wanted to be the first to get an R7, because it is a really beautiful looking bike. It's an interesting platform. A lot of people were coming from the MT-07 or something like me with the SV650 and wondered what a fared version of that bike looked, a sport bike version of the bike looked like and felt like, and I got to ride an R7 on the track. So you guys know, if you look at my old videos, that I was also super enthusiastic to get one, but I was not going to pay the retail price. But a lot of people did, and what that meant was when people went to go sell a bike that MSRP for $9,200 on Facebook Marketplace or private sale and stuff like that, they were selling a bike for what they owed on their loan. And so a bike that maybe had 500 to 2,000 miles to even 5,000 miles was listed on Facebook Marketplace at $10,500. And obviously anyone who's, a discerning person is not going to pay that, because you see that you can get a brand new one for $9,200. Why would you pay $10,500 for a used one? So what this has done over the couple years is it kept the prices high for the R7s the past probably 2 years on Facebook Marketplace. But now, this summer, the prices have plummeted on the R7s because a lot of those bikes that were bought early have been sold, rebought, and now they're being sold again, including something like mine where I bought it from someone who paid $10,500 for it and I paid under $8,000 for it maybe 2 years or a year later after he initially bought it. So, and Lord willing, when it is time for me to sell this, I'll be selling it within $400 to $500 of what I initially bought it, and I won't be taking that $2,000 to $3,000 hit because, if you financed it and had to get the payoff and stuff like that. What that means in our current market is, instead of R7s being at $10,500, or last year a lot of them were at $8,500, now a lot of them are starting to get in that $8,000 to $7,500 range. But I've even seen R7s going as low as $6,500 and $7,000 if you catch the right person at the right time and you get something maybe that has 5,000 or 6,000 miles, which, because so many people bought these bikes at an expensive price, like I said, they didn't ride them a ton. And also the way Yamaha set up this bike, it's really not the best bike in the world out of the box, it can be made a great bike for you if you do a couple modifications to it. And I'll be making a video about that, but some of that includes the exhaust and stuff. But it's just the way Yamaha set this bike up. You're probably not going to ride it a ton if you leave it bone stock, because bone stock is just not the best bike in the world. If you are in the market for R7, I suggest you look for a bike that it has more than 600 miles, but did have the 600-mile service. If the bike, you really want to look between like 1,000 and 3,000 miles. There's a 4,000 mile service, so if you get a bike that has like 3,900 miles, then check to see if the 4,000 mile service was done. If not, then you can at least use that as a negotiation for what you need to do. You can at least use that as negotiation for getting that price down a little bit, because you will have to do an oil change. Your real target price should be, I would say, in the summer slash fall, maybe 7,000 to 7,500. You should, if you're patient, you should be able to get an R7 for 7,000 to 7,500 for sure, a good R7. But if you're even more patient, I would wait until probably like November, December, where you don't have other people bidding. And see, that's the thing, there are so many R7s for sale that even currently in the summer and in the fall, there are not a ton of people who are bidding to the point where, like, if someone lists it for 7,600, that people are beating down their door at that price. It's more that people would be beating down their door at 6,000, 6,500, 7,000. That's what happened to me when I listed at 76. People were beating down my door. The first, like, I got so many inquiries at 6,000 flat, which obviously it would make no sense to take. But even a dealer offered me 7,200, and for a dealer to offer you 7,200 for a used bike that you bought for high sevens is like unheard of. But that's why you buy on Facebook Marketplace from a private seller at a good time. I could have been much more patient when I bought this bike, but God was graceful with me, or merciful with me, and He made sure that I wasn't, too out of pocket for this bike when it came to paying over or paying inflated prices. So, and this bike has been great on the channel. So, but yeah, I just wanted to make this guide for people interested in buying, to make sure you get in at a good price. Also, another thing to consider, if you do want the bike to sound a certain way, which if I did it again, I would have waited to get a bike that had like at least an exhaust on it, that still had the baffle or what have you, because the thing about these bikes, you can get a stock R7 that's used at $7,500, and you can get a R7 that has an exhaust and a tune on it for $7,500 to eight grand. But the thing is, the exhaust alone costs, if you get a real one and not eBay, like a knockoff eBay one, an exhaust gonna cost $800 to $1,100. And because of the way the R7 is set up, they do need to be tuned, which typically on the cheap end is going to cost $250 to $300. I mean, and I say cheap end in price, not cheap end in quality, because you can get a good quality one if you ship it in. This is like a company D2 or something like that. But essentially, you get a lot more value if you buy an R7 with an exhaust, if you are expecting to put an exhaust on it anyway. Even if it has an exhaust that you don't like, you can sell that exhaust, and I promise you, if it's a real exhaust, authentic exhaust, you're gonna at least get some money back off of that. Or another strategy I guess you could do is buy a R7 again below 8,000 with a real exhaust on it, and then if you wanted your bike stock, you just buy a stock exhaust for like $20, sell the real one for anywhere from $600 to $1,000 depending on what it's worth. And now you're into your R7 for low sevens, if not high sixes, which again is a great deal. So it's just certain things to think about. I don't know what this guy is doing. I don't know what this guy is doing. He's not paying attention at all. That's the thing you got to be careful with on a motorcycle. These people aren't always, they're actually almost always not paying attention. And I wonder what he's doing. Jesus. It's not going to work. I just wanted to make this video, hopefully save you guys some money, have you guys think of some things ahead. Also, I wouldn't, unless you're getting a track bike, I wouldn't buy a R7 that has a rebuilt title or a salvage title, because you can get so many good R7s. But if you are looking for a track bike, it could be worth getting, you know, targeting R7s that have been down, because you can get them at a cheaper price, and that way you don't have to, you know, have the expensive track bike dilemma, because as they say, expensive bike, slow rider, cheap bike, fast rider when it comes to the track. Because you don't want to, in a weird way, you don't want to be worried about crashing the bike if you're going to the track. But if you're not going to the track and you're planning on having a bike for a while, still making sure you're well below $8,000 is just going to make sure you don't lose your shirt if you decide to sell the bike in a year or two. Because from what I'm seeing, I suspect the market for R7s, unless they discontinue the bike sometimes like in the next year, I suspect the market for R7s to next year be probably around 7,200 to like 6,500 max, or a 6,500 like average. So these are all things to consider when you're buying. It's a great time to buy an R7 for a savvy buyer, and this video should make you a savvy buyer. You know what to look for. Get that exhaust on it. Make sure it's a real exhaust, because there are some eBay knockoffs, and they're going to be much louder and less refined and less good on gas as well, I would assume. But get you a good exhaust on it when you buy it. That'll save you at least $500-600 baked into the cost. Get you one that's in between service intervals, so 2,000 to 3,000 miles or 5,000 to 7,000 miles, because the next service interval for that is 8,000. And just make sure that the previous owner was doing all the maintenance required at the service intervals, and then you really should be set. There are so many R7s for sale that have less than 4,000 miles. It's crazy. I rode my SB650 over 13,000 miles with like no modifications, whatever, completely stock. It had enough grunt for me and stuff like that, but this bike is just not the same. It's not as smooth. It feels good, it looks beautiful, but it's just lacking in some categories. But I appreciate you guys watching this video. I know it's been a minute, but I plan to have a couple more videos coming out, and I'm just excited for the future. So ride safe out there, and if you're not riding, I just appreciate you coming and rocking with the video. I'll talk to you later. Peace.